MPs have grilled Steinhoff's former chief financial officer. Ben Lechranzi is appearing before the Parliament's three committees of Parliament. That is, he was the beleaguered company's CFO when accounting irregularities and fraud occurred, which has brought Steinhoff to its knees. eNCA's Lester Kiewit was at the committees and joins me now from Parliament. And Lester, I mean, it's three committees, right? It's Justice, it's the Committee on Finance and Public Accounts. This suggests that, you know, there's intention to attack this from every possible angle. What has been the tone of the questions that have been asked after Ben Lechranzi gave his opening statement?
There's a concern here from MPs as part of those multi-portfolio committee meeting here at Parliament this morning. The top of mind is obviously the impact of the Steinhoff saga on the pensions of 1.1 million government employees. The PIC, the Public Investment Corporation, which invests government pensions, is the second largest investor in Steinhoff, and obviously with that company losing 95% of its share value, this has impacted those government employee pensions. So there is a concern of whether government employees have been protected throughout this saga. There's been allegations from MPs that they're finding the testimony of Ben Lechranzi disingenuous, that he may not be telling the whole truth. But as you said earlier, Ben Lechranzi is saying that he did nothing wrong. First saying he did nothing deliberately wrong, later clarifying, saying that he may not have used the word deliberately in the right context, but he's saying that he did nothing wrong, only discovering the extent of these fraud allegations in December last year. This after some negative media reports had already been appearing in the press, and saying only finding out in December he then acted. He says that he then resigned from the company as its chief financial officer in January of 2018 to protect the company. This at the same time saying while he did nothing wrong, he says that the reputational damage to the company had already been done, and he took the moral decision, Ben Lechranzi saying, to step down to try and protect the company. In the meantime, there's still plenty of questions from MPs of whether he's been interviewed by the Hawks, what is his relationship with Marcus Jooste, and whether he's found that Steinhoff has responded adequately enough to the PIC in asking those questions whether government pensions have been protected.
Yeah, in fact, let's pick up on that relationship with the, disgraced former Steinhoff CEO, Marcus Jooste. His name did come up in what Ben Lechranzi had to say, didn't it?
Yes, that's right. Ben Lechranzi is saying that he has no personal relationship with Marcus Jooste, that he is not friends or doesn't socialize with him, and only dealt with him in a work environment. That said, there's still plenty of questions yet to come out on what he knew about Marcus Jooste's alleged role in the Steinhoff saga. As we know, Marcus Jooste will be coming to the committee next week. This after his legal team struck a deal with Parliament. Parliament has withdrawn that summons, that subpoena for him to attend, but have agreed that he will attend next week's sitting, but will speak broadly on a government's regulatory framework, financial regulatory framework, and how that could have allowed gaps for the situation at Steinhoff to take place. But at the same time, there's been lots of wrangling between MPs on just exactly what the purpose of these committee hearings are. Earlier we had the Parliament's legal advisor stating out, or the state of play at Parliament, that witnesses come and give testimony under oath, but there are certain protections for them when it comes to their legal standing and giving evidence in Parliament. The EFF's Floyd Chivambu saying that they want to target anyone who could have done any wrongdoing, and they should hold them accountable as they would any other government official who comes to Parliament to give evidence. Now, as we know, we are still waiting for Marcus Jooste to appear before Parliament next week. It's certainly going to have a similar atmosphere as we've seen here in Parliament this morning.
And the committees, Lester, also got an opportunity to hear from the Steinhoff chairperson, Heather Son. What did she have to say? I suppose she's more concerned with not only the past, but also the present and the future of Steinhoff.
Heather Son, who is the chair of Steinhoff's advisory board, has been accused of merely providing public relations for the company. The Standing Committee on Finance's chairperson Eunice Karim accused her of waffling, saying they don't want the background, they don't want what is happening now in terms of how much jobs they are saving or what the profit margins are of Steinhoff. They want to know how are they holding Steinhoff, how they are holding those who are alleged of wrongdoing to account. They're actually wanting them to name names, who has been suspended, who is currently under investigation, and also, more importantly, when are audited results for this company being released, because MPs are saying that if auditors are not releasing this information on the results of Steinhoff, there must be something wrong, and as one MP suggested, that there is a funny smell at Steinhoff, alluding that there could be more to what we know. But at the moment, MPs are putting up a multi-party front here from all political parties in Parliament, grilling Steinhoff, grilling Ben Grange here. At the moment, they say they're concerned about that 1.1 million government employees at risk. They want some clarification on just exactly how they are being protected. Also, a little bit later this afternoon, they will be speaking to the JSC, the regulatory body, on just what exactly happened at Steinhoff and how it could be prevented in future. But I think more importantly, for this afternoon session, they will also be calling the Hawks to give evidence on just how far those investigations are, whether they'll be laying any criminal charges against any person in particular at this point. From what we know from the Hawks in other parliamentary sittings, particularly the Police Portfolio Committee of about a week or so ago, saying that progress in those investigations are slow. If that is the same response towards in this multi-portfolio committee meeting this afternoon, we're going to have some very upset and disgruntled MPs upset with the slow progress of a criminal investigation of that led to 1.1 billion government employee and pensions being put at risk.
Just a final one then, Lester. How constrained is this whole process in Parliament by the fact that, part of the way that these two, the former CFO and former CEO came to be before these three committees, it came about as a result of a subpoena that was then withdrawn in favor of a concession that was reached between their legal representatives on grounds that, there's already a parallel process, a criminal process that's underway, and therefore there's an understanding that, they're not supposed to incriminate themselves in whatever transpires in the House there in Parliament. How constrained is the process by that?
Well, we can see by the number of lawyers who are also present here at Parliament this afternoon. Ben Grange has his own legal team here with him, sometimes advising him on certain questions. It's almost certain that Marcus Jooste will also be coming with a legal team here to Parliament. There is some concern of just what type of evidence or testimony witnesses give here towards the portfolio committees here in Parliament. There is concern whether they would be protected, but there has also been some consternation of just how much they'll be able to reveal. Steinhoff telling Parliament that they don't want to go into specifics when it comes to names and those detailed information, saying that auditors are still combing through evidence, that there's still various disciplinary proceedings happening, and of course there is that criminal investigation by the Hawks.